Hey guys, ladies, how are you? Hopefully you're having a really good day slash evening. I'm exhausted. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. I just couldn't sleep. I have too much on my mind. But it's astonishing how much more you get done with your day when you wake up early. Although I'm really tired now, it was totally worth it. By the time, 12 o'clock rolled around, I was already up for 7 hours. It was crazy how much more stuff I've gotten done, and hopefully, I'm going to try and wake up a little bit earlier than normal. Usually I'm up between like 5:30 and 6, but I got up this morning, like I said, at 4, and honestly, I can't believe the amount of stuff I got done with that extra hour or hour and a half. So I want to encourage you, again, if you're finding it really hard to fit inside of your timetable, doing all those great things with your life, such as working out or meal prepping or just having your own alone time in the morning before your kids wake up, I highly recommend that you start waking up a little bit earlier. Hopefully you can see my Christmas tree. I look like I'm got some lights through me, but it's all good. So I wanted to tackle a few different things before we get started into the Q&A, and then I'll answer the 2 questions that I saw were posted in the group. But first and foremost, I just want to talk a little bit about the liquids that you should be drinking if you are intermittent fasting. So of course water, of course lemon water, you can throw some cucumber in there, watermelon, stuff like that inside of your water if you're looking for like a little bit more flavor. There's something also called a dirty fast, and I know it sounds weird, but it's not necessarily going to spike your insulin level, and you're still going to be in a fasted out state. So if you're like really craving something that's not black tea or black coffee or water, then you can have something that's about 50 calories or less. Just be really, really careful that it's not sugar that you are consuming. So don't have a sugary drink, even if it is, 50 calories or less. So it could be sweetened by something like xylitol or stevia, something of that nature, although those don't taste the best. But another really good way is also like apple cider vinegar is it's not going to break your fast. It's going to actually balance out your pH levels. It's going to help improve your digestion. Obviously, you're not drinking an entire cup of apple cider vinegar. It'd just be like a little bit of, maybe a tablespoon, if you will, inside of some water. Another thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is ice water compared to room temperature water. There's some studies shown that ice water actually doesn't speed up your metabolism as much as, say, room temperature. And it's all about, preference. I'm not going to read too much into it, but I don't prefer water or ice water just because I find it really hard to consume. I chug a lot of the times after I have my meals because I feel really thirsty. So just be a little bit cognizant of that. I'm not saying you can't drink ice water. Absolutely. If it's your preference, it's better than not drinking water at all, of course. Going back to the liquids that on fasting, obviously you want to avoid juice, you want to avoid pop, you want to avoid anything else that's packed with sugar. So again, read your labels, but don't be afraid to have like a flavored tea. So herbal tea, again, watch your caffeine intake because again, it can dehydrate you. So please make sure that you're drinking lots of water. If you're somebody that does have 1 or 2 or 3 cups of coffee or tea a day, you absolutely need to be drinking more water. No excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit more clarity on, what's good to drink when you are in a fasted state. It's ideally supposed to be 0 calories, but of course there's some days where we really just don't feel like only consuming water. I'm totally there with you. So, be creative a little bit, throw some lemon, lime, even throwing some salt inside of your warm water is going to help, replenish your minerals and vitamins that you may have lost over the evening from fasting, obviously when you're sleeping, etc. So don't be afraid of that. I think that's it for the fasting liquid. So I wanted to answer Priscilla's question. Hi, Priscilla. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Tara. Thank you. My tree is pretty. So she asked a little bit more about ankle mobility and strengthening the ankles. So great question. A lot of the times, what's happening too is that when we're trying to get so deep into our squat, we're feeling like our ankles are kind of holding us back. So it absolutely, like there's tons of tendons in your ankles, and our ankles are really truly carrying our weight around all day long. So there can be different exercises we can do to stabilize those, or at least, make sure that they're strengthening. A lot of the times I like to do like one leg. So if you're at all able to do like a one-legged squat, you can start with a sit and stand on a chair where you sit down and stand up with just one leg. In addition to that, you can use your bands So there's an exercise that I'll actually try and incorporate this week through one of our warm-ups where you actually have the band on the very top part of your foot. So it's not going to be on the front part of your ankle, but on the top part of your foot. And you're gonna kind of lean your knee into the wall or into, if you have a squat rack, which I don't think a lot of us do at home, but you can lean in and then lean out just to make sure that you're working the certain tendons in the front part of your actual ankle. I'm not sure if you've seen these before too, but they actually come in a little ball form, but it's kind of like a flat ball. Even those Boostu balls are really good for ankle strengthening because you can turn them either way. You can step on them, do frontwards lunges, do backwards lunges. So it's a really good way to incorporate some more ankle mobility there. A lot of us have, ankle injuries, especially if we were like cardio junkies in the past, or you don't have proper shoes. I mean, that would be another huge thing I would take a look at. I don't wear shoes when I'm at home, and then I'm not sure if you remember this, but when the shoes came out where they were like actually your own toes, it was like a sock shoe. It was the craziest thing. But it was specifically designed to strengthen your ankles and all the bones and everything inside of your feet. So if you have an opportunity to work out barefoot, I would highly recommend it. You'll notice too that a lot of bodybuilders, if they are squatting or they're deadlifting, they have very, very flat shoes, or they'll actually take their shoes off, because it allows them to make sure that their heels are planted firmly on the ground and that they're actually using a lot of their muscles in their legs, of course, but also that they have ankle mobility and ankle strength. Because if you think about it, a bodybuilder squatting, 400 plus pounds, they have to have strong ankles or they'll buckle and they'll fall over. Okay, so if you can work out flat-footed, I do recommend that. I mean, take your socks off too, especially if you're on a slippery surface. Even myself, like the room that we work out in has carpet, so I'm always taking off my socks and trying to use my mat. So hopefully that helps. So one-legged exercises. So if you can squat on one leg, or at least do a sit and stand, a one-legged deadlift can really help with that. Some of us might need to hold on to the wall for a few, sessions just to get our balance, because it's all about your core too. If you're using one leg, it's not specifically only your ankles. It's definitely some core strengthening there as well. But that's a great question. And I do recommend to do like ankle rolls and feet rolls. So if you can point your toes up, point your toes down, and then do circles as part of your warm up, especially if you're somebody that really struggles feeling like they're strong. So hopefully that answers your question. The other one that I remember is from Jennifer, and she was asking me about powdered, creamers or powdered milk. I mean, clearly it's not natural. I don't like anything that ends in the word milk other than if it's coming from a non-dairy source. I just feel like it's extremely processed, and honestly, I don't think it really mixes well with your coffee, etc. I know sometimes we're in a pinch, but really and truly, I would stay away from that as much as possible. I'm sure it's packed with chemicals. I'm sure they have to, heat it up, cool it down, grind it up into the powder form, and then you're putting it into your beautiful cup of coffee, which you should be drinking black. I know, Jen, it's all good. Everybody has their thing, but I would just recommend, using a natural, almond milk or cashew milk, some type of oat milk, something of that nature. Just stay away from the powders in that regard. I mean, even the protein powder is, really good and all that, but I would much prefer for you to get your protein from actual food sources as opposed to a grounded up powder. Clearly that's not a naturally occurring thing in nature or in life. So if you have an opportunity to eat a natural protein source like meat, eggs, fish, nuts, legumes, you name it, something, hemp hearts, like there's so many different ways you can get your protein sources. But I'm not saying that, if you're really trying to get that 150 or less grams of protein a day, then protein powder is a great way to ensure that you get there. Plus, if you enjoy the taste and you don't really like a lot of other, meat sources, it's actually a really good replacement, as long as it's packed with vitamins and minerals too. And there's a couple different types of protein powder. We've talked about this before too, but whey protein is from cow. full of hormones, full of antibodies. It's really hard for humans to digest, just like cow's milk and just like certain cheeses, etc. So if you can, I would recommend getting a vegan protein. Usually speaking as well, of course, vegan is going to be from plants, but a lot of the times they add superfoods to their protein powders. Arbonne adds vitamins, minerals. It's so delicious too. So just as a side note, always read your labels. It's super, super important, and check what you're putting into your body. Okay. Hello, Caitlin. So who else has a question? So Priscilla's got caffeinated coffee will raise cortisol levels also. Is it okay to, okay. So personally speaking, I have 1 cup of caffeinated coffee a day. I have it in the morning, and I have it on an empty stomach, and I have it black. It's a preference for me. I can't stand even adding almond milk to my coffee. If you're somebody that needs to add almond milk or oat milk or some other type of, non-dairy milk, go for it. But for me personally, if I have a cup of anything caffeinated past like 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon, I am up tossing and turning like a fish all night. I can fall asleep, but I can't stay asleep. And it's ridiculous. Like Steve can have, 3 espressos and a cup of coffee and sleep like a baby. Caffeine will for sure affect your sleep patterns. First and foremost, you're clearly going to be going to the bathroom a lot more because caffeine speeds up, you're peeing a lot more. So you're going to wake up a lot more. I know a lot of us are drinking tons of water, so you probably wake up during the night anyways. But it's also like the mental alertness thing, right? When we are starting to unwind for the day, I don't recommend elevating your energy levels with caffeine. First of all, caffeine's a drug. It absolutely spikes your cortisol level. Okay, so that's also why I don't have coffee after I work out, because my cortisol is already spiked from the weightlifting or from the cardio training that we're doing. So the last thing I want to do is add to that cortisol level, which causes us to store body fat, and it's really hard to sort of balance it out. It throws our hormones off whack too. cortisol is a hormone. So I know it feels really good and tastes really good because I love coffee, trust me, but I just don't recommend, having a ton of caffeine every single day. I would limit it to around 200 to 300 milligrams, okay? And usually speaking, depending on the size of your cup, each cup of coffee would have about 100 to 150 grams, depending on how strong you like it, okay? And here's another thing I would just kind of point out. You want to get a good quality coffee. Don't get Folgers in your cup. That stuff is rancid. I'm sorry if you drink that. I feel like you need to up your coffee game big time. But seriously, I know there's some things that we can't necessarily splurge on, but if you have an opportunity to try it black, I would recommend adding cinnamon to it, because cinnamon is so excellent for your digestion. It's just, I love cinnamon. It's absolutely my favorite spice. I put cinnamon on my eggs. I put cinnamon on my cauliflower. I put cinnamon in my coffee. I'm like crazy cinnamon lady. But anyway, it's because I love it. But it's so good for your digestion. So even if you're having, say, like a chocolate protein shake, I recommend sprinkling a little bit of cinnamon in there. Or if you're someone that's doing like a green shot, you can also add a little bit of cinnamon in there as well. But get a good quality coffee. I drink the Starbucks medium roast because I have it black. And that's the thing, if you're struggling having it black, it's probably because you're not adding cinnamon to it, or it's probably because you're not getting a great quality coffee, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And it goes on sale a lot too. I buy it, it's like $7.89 a bag, and it's, it lasts. So just as I would cut the caffeine for sure before 3 p.m. I really would. And then if you absolutely have a really, really, really tough time with that, just make a decaf. It's at least at half the amount of caffeine, okay? Oh yes, even decaf, Kaylin. Because decaf still has caffeine in it, ladies. It's just half. It's not like they've removed the caffeine source from it, so just be careful with that. And I'm not sure if you know this too, but certain teas actually have more caffeine than coffee. So just be cautious about that too. I know a lot of us, I'm actually drinking peppermint tea right now. I had my dinner not too long ago. I like to have herbal tea after I eat. Peppermint soothes my stomach. I think I've, mentioned this before. I'll have like a raspberry tea, which is actually really good if you're PMSing. And if you're really bloated and you feel like crap and you have cramps, get some freaking raspberry tea. It works wonders. It's really, and my naturopath recommended that to me. You can get it on Amazon. It's super inexpensive too. It's like $3 for 2 boxes or something like that. But it tastes really good. There's no caffeine in it. I mean, there's the Arbonne Detox tea, which is so delicious. It's got some licorice root in there. It's got a little bit of peppermint, chamomile. There's so many amazing teas, and there's so many benefits, as long as, again, it's not packed with caffeine, that I would recommend that you know, sort of look into a little bit more, especially if you're somebody who really likes to late night snack, or you automatically run for like the sweets after you have your dinner. Having a cup of tea without the sugar, Tara, is actually going to be very beneficial to you. So I highly recommend it. I have peppermint tea every single night if I don't have my raspberry, or if I don't have my herbal detox, okay? Hopefully that helps. Hi, Devonna. Hey, babes. I haven't seen you in a while, girl. Nice to see your face. So who else has some questions? This week, I am excited. I've got some new workouts coming your way. We're still going to continue with the hypertrophy, so don't be alarmed if you've seen some of these exercises before, but I am super excited to go into the last month. I've got some great things planned for us over Christmas time, and it's just super important for us to finish this year strong. I can't stress it enough. Don't just think, okay, I'm gonna wait till, you know, the new year, new you challenge, or wait till the new year and set my goals and my intentions, because like 10% of the people who actually set a health and fitness New Year's resolution, 10% are still working towards it after 2 months. It's like crazy to me, you know, and I think that that's also the beauty about having a community to hold you accountable. And I know we obviously can't see each other that much in person, but at the same token, like, just don't use the end of this year as an excuse to fall off the wagon, or an excuse to overeat, or an excuse to put off your start date. Because you know what? Consistency is key. January is like seriously around the corner. This month is just flying by, and before you know it, you're gonna be in the middle of January, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I guess I'll start now. Okay, so just be consistent. This is what a lifestyle. This is not like 90 days and I'm done, and then maybe I'll do it again 6 months from now. No, you gotta keep it up. It's establishing these things in your life so you don't have to think twice about working out. You don't have to think twice about cooking something healthy for your supper, or your lunch, or your breakfast, or dinner, or whatever the heck you want to call it. It's just something that you're naturally going to do. Okay, so hopefully that resonates. I know it's hard, because right now we're not even sure if we can see our families for Christmas. I know some of us are, you know, really struggling with that. And I think that's really important to talk about, because I mean, seriously, when have you never got the opportunity to spend time with your family over Christmas time? Like, it's ridiculous, you know, and it just seems like there's so much stuff thrown at us, but we got to stay consistent. We got to stay happy. We got to stay positive, because truly there's no other alternative. You know, negativity is just the worst thing on the planet. It's going to elevate your stress. It's going to elevate your cortisol level. It's going to help you gain weight, and none of us want to do that. Okay, so just stay the course, stay strong. You know, we're almost done this incredible program, and I'm excited for the last third of this program, okay? Kaylin, yes, they are if they're efficient. So she's asked if 30-minute workouts are, you know, long enough, efficient enough, and I would say absolutely. Especially if you're somebody that works out, and I know you do, Kaylin, like 4 or 5 times a week. If you can only squeeze in like a 30-minute workout, first and foremost, any type of movement is better than none at all, okay? But I also know that you're most likely gonna be weightlifting, or maybe you're gonna do some cardio. The thing is, like, we wanna always be able to listen to our body. We don't wanna overexert ourselves. We don't want to, you know, go like a crazy lady for 30 minutes, you know, doing HIIT training for 30 minutes because that's all we have, and we're setting our mindset in the wrong realm. Look at it as, thank God I have these 30 minutes. I'm gonna utilize them to my max, and do what you feel like in those 30 minutes, because that most likely is going to be the most efficient workout for those 30 minutes. Okay, so it is for sure long enough. Just as long as you're, you know, actually challenging yourself. But at the same token, if you've already worked out, you know, 4 or 5 times during the week, and you can only squeeze a 30-minute workout in, I mean, that's incredible. So don't put so much pressure on the timeline. Just focus on making sure you've got really good quality movements. You're focusing on your form, your breathing, you're drinking your water. I would minimize your rest periods so you can get a little bit more activity and burn more calories that way too. I would recommend that, okay? Yeah, so I just answered that, Tara, and I would say definitely at least 30 minutes. I mean, 20 minutes is 20 minutes is 20 minutes. If you are really pressed with time, I wouldn't recommend anything less than 20, you know, and then the only thing I would say back to that is seriously wake up another 20 minutes earlier so you can get it 30 minutes at the bare bones minimum, okay? I mean, especially if you're somebody that also likes to walk, you know, that's still considered active rest. Like you're still using calories when you're walking. It depends how fast you're going and of course how long you're going. But like the thing is, ladies, I know a lot of us are very consistent with this weightlifting program that we're doing. So I would say bare bones minimum for us at our levels right now, we need to be at least 30 minutes because now your body has started to get used to lifting weights for 45 minutes plus. Okay, because if you're following the programs, it for sure should take you at least 45 minutes. If you start to scale it back, then I would just, again, incorporate some different workouts that maybe you haven't been doing for the rest of the week to keep your body guessing, minimize your rest period once again, and if you can throw a little bit of HIIT training in there, highly recommend it. Okay, and if you're doing your 30 minutes on a cardio equipment, so if you are somebody that has like a stationary bike or an elliptical or something, you know, crazy like that in your home, then I would recommend at least 40 seconds of like sweating your butt off work, followed by 20 seconds, 20 or 30 seconds of recovery. Okay, and you'll notice, of course, your heart rate. Remember what I told you before, though, you don't always need to be sweating profusely and feeling like you're going to pass out to get an effective workout. You really got to get that inside of your head because I think that's, you know, it's not a very healthy place to be, if you will. Okay? Yes, it does. The Arbonne coffee shake has caffeine in it. It's sold out. So you can't even get it anymore, but yes, it does. I'm not sure how much. I've only had it once and Steve loves it. I'm not sure if you saw the video, but yeah, so just be careful. I would consume that as your morning shake. If you're someone that does have, you know, 2 shakes a day, I wouldn't consume it closer to the evening time. If you have a cup of coffee beforehand, that's okay. I want to say it's like 45 milligrams, which is like nothing. And that might be per scoop. I should go grab it, but I don't feel like getting up because I'm on the floor in case you haven't noticed. Okay. Yeah, Kaylin, still okay to have it as a snack, but just again, bump the time frame up a little bit. Bare bones minimum 3 o'clock would be my cutoff point for caffeine, okay? It is delicious. It's so good. It's like a freaking, I don't even know what those things are from Tim Hortons because they're packed with cream and I've never had one and I probably would be in the hospital if I had one of those. So ladies, let me know if you have any other questions. I'm really looking forward, like I said, to the latter half of this week. Steve just picked up our grocery haul for the week. And I will definitely be doing a little bit of videos on that, but I want to hear from you. If there's something else that we haven't tackled in this group so far, let's do it. Hit me up, shoot me a message, post it in the group. We will absolutely get around to it. Hopefully you all saw the video of the upper body warm up. The lower one is coming, not tomorrow, the following day. And we will see you on Saturday at 8 a.m. Until further ado, and I'm not trying to give you, you know, so many excuses, but I purchased a home yesterday evening and I'm going to be flipping the home, but I have to meet all of my trades and agent on site on Saturday and it's nowhere near where I live. So I'm going to have to travel and that's why I need to bump up the time. And honestly, I apologize. It won't be like this after Saturday. I promise. I want to stick to that timeline. I know it works really well for a lot of us. But don't worry if you can't make it live, there will be plenty more, especially if you've joined me in the New Year, New You Challenge. But even still, it'll be posted in the group, so you'll have ample opportunity to get it done, even if it is on your own, okay? Ladies, have a great evening. Thank you so much once again for joining me. Merry Christmas. Hopefully you got all your Christmas shopping done. I will tell you what size I am at Gymshark in case you want to get me something. No, I'm just kidding. I love each and every single one of you. Have an awesome evening. Drink your herbal tea, just unwind for the evening. I'm going to talk a little bit more next week about sleep hygiene, and what I mean by that is getting in a really dark room, white noise, winding down for the evening, turning off those freaking devices, making sure that you're not having, you know, stimulating foods closer to bedtime. It's going to be a really, really amazing sort of revamp of how proper sleep should look, okay? You also have an awesome evening, ladies. See you mañana. Bye.